Autorama remains our area's finest custom, classic, and hot rod show, and it comes along every year when we've had enough of winter and need a car show the most. The cars come in from all over the U.S. and even a few from our own local circle of Windsor area car enthusiasts. The Riddler Award is given out to the top car at the show, and this year it went to this magnificent 1939 Olds brought in from Texas. The customizing and detail work on this car is superb. Here's a look at this great car and this year's Riddler Award winner. The Riddler Award was named after Don Riddler, an early promoter of Autorama. The Olds is a work of art and well deserving of this award, but there were many cars at this show that made the finalist list that were equally worthy. Like this 61 Chevy wagon. It started life as a bubble top, but then converted to a wagon. It's clean inside and out, and a competitor at any show. It's fitted out with a 409 engine under the hood. Another finalist was this incredible 1941 Ford pickup. Note the retractable hardtop roof and custom interior. Everything about this car screams showstopper. The owner calls this pickup Mirage, but I can assure you, it's very real. This beautiful 76 XB Falcon came all the way from Australia. It's owned by Chris and Colleen. A couple of weeks ago, I got an email from Chris's dad, Les, telling me they plan to come to the show. We correspond occasionally. Chris has done an outstanding job with this car. It's equipped with a supercharged Boss 290 engine, and the custom touches to this X-Boss are easy to see. The Australian Falcon is nothing like our Ford Falcons over here, and they're made by Ford. I've learned that 2016 will be the last year for this model. Australian production began back in 1960. Here's a 1948 Thames. Under the hood sits a 350 engine. And here's a 64 Ford Fairlane Coupe. I had a little fun trying to guess the make of this classic. I thought perhaps a 39 Dodge because of the headlights, or perhaps a Hudson because of the hood design. I did get the year right though. It's a 1939. And it's a Graham. That's a sweet-looking little 33 Ford Coupe. And a 32 Ford Highboy. This is perhaps one of the most heavily customized cars at the show, using parts from many different cars. The frame is from a 56 Chevy, and it has a 56 Chevy cowl and doors, 58 Chevy quarter panels, 59 Chevy deck lid, 59 Merc rear window, a custom dash with 59 Chevy gauges. That's a 355 Chevy engine under the hood. From the rear it looks like some influence came from a 59 Chevy. You can tell a lot of work went into this custom creation. Moderate customizing to this 1960 Ford Sunliner. Notice the trunk lid has been narrowed and the tail fins broadened. This is a clean-looking car inside and out. It's equipped with a 281 Lincoln Mark 8 engine. This beautiful 1950 Ford is a survivor from 1958 when it was first customized. The roof has been channeled, it has Monarch taillights, and nice customizing to the headlights, grille, and front bumper. What a car. Here's a car many of our local car show and cruise night gang will recognize. It's Norm's 1956 Ford. Norm has done a nice job with this car. It has a 390 engine and custom interior. A trademark of Norm's Ford is the bulging quarter panels over the rear wheel wells. From an earlier interview with Norm, many may recall that this car was discovered while Norm was out shopping for vacuum cleaner bags. When he saw the Ford, he forgot all about the bags and bought the car. It's hard to believe this was once a drag car. A 1932 Ford 3-window coupe with a 57 Chrysler 392 engine. And here's a rare one. It's a 1941 Willys pickup. It's powered by a 502 Ramjet engine. Wouldn't you love to have this 53 Caddy in your driveway? This car looks to me to be the height of good taste. Imagine the hours that went into turning out this beauty. Under the hood sits a 427 LS7 engine. The interior has comfortable six-way seats. Here's a 1940 Merc in bright blue. It features a custom interior. Nice customizing on the headlights, louvered hood, and dummy spots. This is a 1957 Ford Post with light customizing. Here's a 53 Chevy 210 convertible. Light customizing to the taillights and grille, and dummy spots. Overall, a great-looking car. 56 Packard Clipper taillights highlight this 53 Buick Super Riviera Custom. The rear bumper is from a Packard Caribbean. Door handles have been shaved, and 48 Lincoln push buttons open the doors from the inside. This car is for ladies only. Back in the 50s, Chrysler was turning out concept cars to appeal to various markets. This 54 Comtessa was aimed at the ladies and set the style for the La Femme, which was in production from 1955 to 1956. The color is dusty rose. It's well appointed and detailed and has a full plexiglass sunroof. Under the hood sits a 235 horsepower V8 engine. This car was used by Chrysler at auto shows to promote its forward thinking. However, this model never went into production. Back in '63, Chrysler was testing out turbine cars. Here's what they sounded like. The body of this car was made by Ghia in Italy. Several turbine cars were made and sent to private drivers for testing. However, only 9 remain. One is owned by the Walter P. Chrysler Museum. The rear of the car resembles rocket thrusters. However, the turbine car was not to be. The idea was scrapped after a couple of years. Not to be left behind, GM was also turning out concept cars. An example is this 1953 Cadillac Le Mans. It's a 2-seater, and note the dual headlights. These quad headlights would not make an appearance until 4 years later in a top-end Cadillac model. For most cars, the quad headlights came along in '58. Here's another GM concept car. It's a 1959 Cadillac Cyclone with 325 horsepower. You may think that advanced warning crash detection might be only in late model cars, but this car had it 57 years ago. Sensors are mounted in the black nose cones. The Cyclone also came with a plexiglass bubble top that folded back into the trunk and went up automatically when rain was detected. How about that for 1959 technology? Here's another survivor, a '35 Ford, first customized back in the early '60s. Back then, it won a lot of awards. A unique feature is the Edsel horse collar on the grille. This '33 Ford is a one-off design. Under the hood sits a powerful 400 horsepower engine. Aside from the grille shape, it bears little resemblance to the original '33 Ford. Here's a 1952 International pickup. These were used for heavy hauling way back when. This one does a lot of hauling too, but of another kind. Under the hood sits a Boss 302 engine. Wheels are by Foose. A 350 Chevy engine powers this 1927 Tall T. It features power windows and air conditioning. A 1937 Chevy and a 1940 Ford Coupe. This 1960 Dodge Phoenix is as stock as they come. It's a basic four-door sedan, and I'm glad to see no one has tinkered with the originality. This is arguably the last of the fast '60s Corvettes. Here is a 1932 Ford sedan delivery. A small package, but it still required a lot of work to make this car what it is. This '56 Chevy Nomad captured a lot of attention. I suppose mainly because it was spotlit, and the bright green color really showed it off. They tell me this hydroplane develops 3,000 horsepower and is capable of speeds up to 200 miles an hour. Now here's something that looks like it came from an early James Bond movie. It's a Kellison J5 kit car with a 327 engine. It's a rarity. Let's look at the dragsters. This monster covers the quarter mile in 5.4 seconds at 265 miles an hour. It's powered by a 3,500 horsepower engine. And this is an older rail model from the 1960s. Here's one very nice '56 Chevy. It has mild customizing and is tastefully done. A lot of thought went into restoring and customizing this 51 Chevy pickup. It has a dump box on the back. That's a random sampling of Autorama cars on the main floor of Kobo. And a great show it was. But there's more to see. Let's go down to the basement, away from all the glitz and glamour, and see what we can find. No bright city lights down here. This is where Autorama began back in the 60s. Here you'll find a little bit of everything, like this 1950 Ford customized by Gene Winfield back in 2008. Winfield is well known for his custom car designs. It's hard to recognize, but this is a 1931 Model A, a 1934, and a 1956 Ford. When we arrived, they were still handing out trophies in various categories with lots of applause. Well, it's time to wrap this up from the Detroit Autorama 2016. It has been a great day and a lot of interesting cars to see. But before we go, here's a strange tale about a Duesenberg and what they've done to Granddad's ultra-expensive car. Believe it or not, this was a top-of-the-line 1935 Model J Duesenberg that was customized back in 1948. The marquee says it sits on its original frame and has its original 420 cubic inch, 265 horsepower engine. A very powerful car for its time. It's made up of Oldsmobile and Cadillac body panels. Just imagine how sporty this would have looked back in 1948. What they've done is converted a top-of-the-line sedan into a large sports car. This is one unusual car that I'd like to learn more about, although I'm not sure about the cow horns. Well, so long for now from the 2016 Detroit Autorama. And as always, we'll see you at the car shows and cruise nights.